road into it. So to come to the school, you have to park your car and walk down a trail and cross a flimsy little bridge over a chasm and watch out for the troll under the bridge. And we like that a lot. It's a be here now place. And so the quality of work that our students put out is extremely high. And we can take on people, and unbelievably to me, in a week or 10 days, train them to build a house for themselves. As an architect who spent 5 years in school and at the end of it couldn't build a house, had you told me this 15 years ago, I would never have believed you. I would never have believed that you can learn to build your own house in a 10-day workshop. But the proof is there by the dozens of people who've now gone out and done that. Once you don't have to be paying a mortgage anymore, then maybe you don't need to have 2 cars for each of you to get to work separately. And then maybe you don't need so much income, and then maybe you can keep your kids at home and grow a big garden and do things together as a family. So our role here is to be support for people who already know what's wrong with their lives and already know that they need to do something about it, but just don't quite know what they can do. They don't know how to start. So the archetypal people who come to us are intelligent, very often overeducated, well-read, people of heart as well as brain. If people want to know why should I come to an expensive workshop and travel a tremendous distance and take a whole week off work to do this, I tell them there's no substitute for watching an expert work, and I don't know anybody who can tell you when you've got the right building material. How does it feel? How does that handful of sand and clay sound? How does it feel in your fingers? One of the things that I try to do as director of the school is bring people back in touch with nature, not just by standing and looking, but by doing things with nature. Taking the ground underneath their feet and turning it into structure. Learning how different kinds of wood can be split to make roof shingles. Letting them fail. Letting them screw up and make shingles that don't work, that don't split right, that come out too thick, that rot easily. During the course of a week or 10 days or 3 weeks or however long our workshops are, we get people to work on necessary buildings. A lot of construction schools don't do that. They build something in a level field, and at the end of the week they knock it down and another group comes in and they do it again. There's an unreality about that I don't like. I like the knowledge that if this wall's going to stay here, your thumbprints will still be there for your great-grandchildren to come and see. So you have a responsibility from the beginning to do it right. So even the first day of doing something completely new to you, which you have no experience in, you have the responsibility to do it well enough that it will be structurally sound and beautiful. So we stress that everything you do with care. Not just manual care, but emotional care. You put your emotional investment into it, as well as the craftsman's skill of how it's built. What we try to do is give all these people courage to go out and create a home for themselves. And the magic of this stuff, which is not going to solve the world's problems, believe me, but the magic of it is that it's a key that opens a door that previously people could only see through. So it's as if for years you've been standing at this door looking into a room that looks much nicer than where you are right now. The sun's shining into it, and there are flowers, and there are beautiful paintings on the walls, and the furniture looks comfy and it's warm and snug, and you're out in the cold and everything is noisy and bright and not what you want to be. And so you look through that window in the door and you're really wanting to go through, but you can't break the glass and you don't have a key. What COB is about is giving people a key. Carve something that you can just dig up from beneath your feet, wherever you're standing, and turn it into a house. It costs almost nothing, it's relatively healthy, and anyone can do it.
This is certainly not like the schools we are used to. And it is not just about building inexpensively with natural materials. It aims at helping us change the way we see, so we can change the way we live. Let's visit some of Linda and Yanto's students and see how they have fared. 5 years ago, Conrad and Courtney Rogmans moved to an unimproved piece of rural land near Jacksonville, Oregon with their 2 small children and began the long, hard process of building a new life for themselves.
My name is Conrad Rogmans, and I live here in Jackson County in the Little Applegate Valley, and I teach here in natural building workshops as well as in other places. And I have a straw bale house and several cottages on my land where we live with several people. I'm originally from the Netherlands. I immigrated to the United States in 1986. I've been living here ever since. I have an organization called House Alive, and we teach workshops on natural building and mostly on cob, straw bale, and different variations of that. You know, we do earthen plasters, earthen floors. Basically teach people how to use straw, sand, and clay in different combinations. My wife, Courtney, and I used to be directors of a camp in Southern Oregon, and also functioned as a conference center. And one fall, we got a group coming to the conference center that was called the Natural Builders. And they not only had a conference there, but they built all kinds of interesting structures out of wood and clay and poles and straw as a contribution to the camp, and we really had a great time, and immediately felt connected to that group. It made a lot of sense to me to have fun building together, making beautiful things, and taking care of the environment at the same time. It was a very attractive thing. It combined a lot of interests of mine. And that group came back for several years in a row, and eventually I decided I wanted to be one of them and quit my job and started teaching natural building, first with other people and then by myself. For me, natural building, or I should really speak to the workshops that I do, is about bringing people together, doing something that's really fun and beautiful, and essentially giving people a little bit of hope again. People they travel far often to get here. They're tired from jobs that they've been doing. They feel disconnected to the out of doors. They feel incapable of doing a lot of things that have to do with physical activity, such as building a house. And then they get together with a group of people for a week or 3 weeks or 6 weeks, and they take a workshop. And at the end of the workshop, their bodies feel better. They've laughed a lot. They built something beautiful with a group of people. And they've lived outdoors. They had some real food for a couple of weeks that wasn't all prefab or processed food. And they feel good again, and they leave the workshop with a feeling of, I can do things, I can build a house, I can be part of a group, I can laugh again, I can do things physically. The people come to the workshops with a building question, and as they leave, those building questions have often dissolved, not because they got the answer, but because they realize it's actually about something else. The bottom line is that life is not about housing or gardening or solar panels or gray water systems, but life is about life and other people. If people would ask me about what I do here and what it all means, it has to do with connecting to people at a different level. But really connecting on a level of creating beauty, enjoying good food, being truly concerned for one another, cutting out the competitiveness between people and changing into a cooperative.